Hola, animigos, and welcome to Keyframers, the animated collaborative coding live stream where we bring imaginative user interfaces to life. I'm your host, Stephen Shaw, but you may know me as @Shashaw.
And I'm your host, David Khourshid, also known as David K. Piano.
Together, we are coding compadres, animation amigos, Boolean buddies, and keyframe companions.
Yeah, so today's challenge day. We're going to be creating an animation based on a challenge from scratch live using HTML and CSS and the little JavaScript. So we're happy to hear any questions that you may have. So please reach out in the chat or the comments.
Yes. Yeah. This is a really cool challenge by Steve Ruiz, I believe is how you pronounce that.
Yes.
Sent in a nice comparison of the Super Mario 64 menu compared to the SGI workstations that they developed on.
They're uncanny. It looks like a direct copy of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been inspired by the tools that I've worked with too in creating designs. So yeah, this is very retro, but it's also something that we don't really see nowadays. I wonder why. Could it be that difficult to make? We will find out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll run into some challenges, but yeah, overall this is a pretty straightforward animation. I extracted just the Mario 64 bit out right here, so that we can inspect that a little closer. Yeah, so we've definitely got this 3D kind of shape that flips out and flips around, and then that transitions into whatever kind of content that's supposed to be. Oops, don't need to go. So yeah.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about this is last week we did a flip animation, and we could definitely see some aspects in here where we're going from one rectangle to another rectangle. It's bigger, the position is different because it's full screen instead of being positioned in a sort of grid layout. But there's also the flipping aspect, which is not part of flip, and it's sort of like a I don't know, like a well, what is that? Hard flip, tray flip. What kind of flip is that?
Tray flip.
360 flip.
Oh.
Have you ever skateboarded?
I have skateboarded. Yes. I
it's
still
some sort of flip.
I still do on occasion, but this is beyond my skill range for
right.
For
your health insurance level.
Right. I am looking forward to that Tony Hawk re-release.
Oh yeah, yes, coming out. Absolutely. That might be the. I don't usually play on console or anywhere, so that might be the thing that gets me getting one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, so I've done a bare bit of setup here, just getting a very basic select a file screen in with 1, 2, 3, and 4 in place, and then I was just working on some extra effects using splitting, but that's not essential at the moment, so we can come back to that if we have time. But since we are dealing with like 3D content, and the way that it transitions together, I was thinking we would probably need those to be grouped together. That's why I have the sections with a nav button and the content.
Right.
Since we're using flipping, or since we're flipping it, I don't know that that's strictly necessary. What do you think?
No, I don't know if it is necessary. So what we did before in some similar animations was we had one screen with the grouping. So we had a screen with like 1, 2, 3, 4, and a separate screen, quote unquote screen, with the full contents.
Right.
And so we could think of it that way, or we could have the exact same format that you have and just position fixed each one of these content blocks, which sounds a little nasty, but it'll work.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, so the way that the 3D button like is attached to it and flips, like I think they're gonna have to be grouped together like this.
I'll have to look at the animation again.
because if it were just like a flat transition, it could probably be fine, like coming out of that button, like if it was more of a thumbnail kind of setup. But with the way like the 3D button actually rotates out and is projected.
Well, so when we determine the deltas with flip, I mean, we could position everything on top of each other, and I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Right. The button itself needs to be rotating to give that 3D effect.
All right, then let's do this. Let's do it with the. Actually, no. They could still. Man, this is tough.
Yeah, with our current CSS variable, with our current CSS variable setup, I don't think we could do that. If we added in like the original positions and things like that, we probably could, though that complexity is likely a bit much. So yeah,
let's group them together and then position fixed.
Yeah. All right. So what David's done here is added our flip function. This is a really straightforward function that we break down in several other videos. We've got links down below to a couple of our other flip episodes that you should really check out. But just briefly, we call this flip function to do something. This is some kind of function that changes the DOM, that adds a class, removes an element, whatever. And then we are tracking a particular element, first element, and then the last element may change. So we've got it as a function in there for that to pull in. So we start out by getting the rectangle, getting the position, the width, and the height of that first element, and then we do something on the next frame, and then we trigger getting the last element and the position of that last element, and then calculate the deltas, the difference between the last and the first x and y, and width and height. Width and height are going to be a percent. What do you call it? Not a percent, but
proportion.
A proportion. Right. So a scale basically from based on 1 being like the original size. So that proportion is calculated for the width and the height, and then we apply a data flipping attribute using dataset flipping, and then style.set property to give all of those values as CSS variables, which we can then animate. And then the next frame will remove that data flipping attribute. So basically, on a button click, we're going to trigger that. So David's already setting that up here.
Yep,
L buttons,
very basic.
Getting an array from for each.
Oh, geez, I forgot to add the event listener. I'm like, why are they all triggering?
So on click.
So I put section on the attributes for each of the buttons. That way we can know what section we're talking about.
I was thinking we could go even simpler than this by just adding a data active attribute to like a particular section.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Just to keep it a little more straightforward.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. So what I can do is get rid of this, and we could, since we no longer have that, what we're basically saying is we want to go to the closest section and make that active. And so first we have
the like parent element that
closest one. It might be nested deeper. We gotta think ahead. So we could say L button dot closest section. Literally, that's all you have to do, which is pretty awesome. Set that active.
jQuery in native JavaScript. It's a great thing.
I know, and it's like it's there, and it's supported in all browsers except probably IE. But we don't make animations for IE, so that doesn't really matter. All right, so, but we do have to get rid of the active for whatever is currently active. So, document.query selector data active. This is, you know what? I'm gonna take a chance here. With this, this operator right here, question mark dot, whatever that's called.
Yeah, I forget
Basically,
what it is.
that
Like
if
a
it doesn't-
conditional chaining, I think is the term.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So then we could dot log what l button dot inner text. Let's just make sure that it is happening without error. So yeah, it's happening. I mean, obviously we could probably add some styles just to make sure that we are triggering those data, sorry, data active elements. But yeah, so the idea is that when we have a data active, we want that content to stretch. And we decided we're going to be doing that with position fixed, which I don't remember the last time we used position fixed, but I'm sure that there's a non-zero chance that we've used it before.
Yes.
Wrong?
Yeah. We had to have.
Yeah. All right, so content, position fixed, top 0, left 0. Okay, so if you click each of the numbers, you'll see that it is working. It's just a little bit silly because all that's happening is the numbers are flying to the top left corner.
Exactly
and if you're,
as intended.
Yeah, if you're looking at home, then it's still the top left corner just because of the way that OBS works. Thankfully, it doesn't invert it on the y-axis, but yeah. No mirror images or anything.
Yep,
okay, so that's going to work.
That's all we need.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. Now we have to actually make this content. Let's see, content, height 100%, width 100%, background green. How's that look?
Good, but now I can't click out.
That's too bad.
Let's see. So there, should we be targeting the section and then the content within it, rather than the button?
For what? When you click the button?
To be able to like click back out.
Sure. So we'll just call this. Oh.
Or just target the sections and.
Let's target the content. If you heard that thunder, that confirms that I live in Florida. In case you doubted that.
Well, we're actually getting some storms out here too. So
all content dot add event listener, click. The number of times we've typed add event listener in this show makes me yearn for the jQuery days. And no, React is not any better. Like you're going from add to on click and having to type HTML and JavaScript. It's like, who knew that React could convert so many people to actually enjoying writing XML without knowing it? That's the thing that we very strongly moved away from, but yeah. Anyway.
Fun fact, array.from accepts an argument, the first argument being some kind of element or some kind of object or whatever that you want to turn into an array. And then the second one is a map function. So we can actually kind of group everything in there.
I wonder if there are any performance benefits of that.
Maybe. Probably not. But yeah, if we just move that up and just make sure that we return L content if we're going to use those later, is all. And there we go. Add a comma.
Cool. Did you know that as far as named HTML colors go, there's a lot of beautiful choices. Here's like Indian red, which is nice. Like coral, which I really like. It's nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There's where's some other ones? There's tomato. Ooh. Tomato.
I can dig some tomato.
And orange and pale goldenrod, which I don't really like. Peach puff. Peach puff is a color. It's very, very skin colored. There's khaki, which looks exactly as you'd expect, like khakis.
Ugh, yeah, atrocious.
There's fuchsia, which is impossible to spell. Did I get it right? Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
First try. Just looking at, there's a website called htmlcolorcodes.com. Leads blue. This is really nice. This blue. Eat your heart out, Tailwind.
Nice.
This is great.
Let's see, auto. Yeah, that helps. Okay, cool.
All right, I'll stop playing around with that. It's just really fun. Better than memorizing hex codes, I'll tell you what.
What is that?
All right, so let's get to flipping. Or maybe not quite yet.
Yeah, let's get let's see. So section, data active, and then content. So content probably want as position absolute. Actually, yeah, top 0, left 0. So what I'm thinking here, so we're going to we're going to trigger the flipping on the section itself, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, like the section data active, don't we want to be then position fixed? So the whole thing expands?
No. Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Expands and flips that way, and then visibility visible, just for simplicity's sake.
Where's my teal? I guess we have to give it a width, height, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Where that is.
0 with height. Yeah, I don't know why that's.
It's big.
Okay, there we go. And then we'll give it a little z-index bump. Great. All right, so now we're toggling between our two states, essentially just active and not active. So that is awesome. Only took 40 lines.
We don't have the full grid. I only see like 1, 2, 3, 4 on the smaller grid, so maybe try to fix that. Unless it's invisible and we just don't.
So I'm hiding the content for now. It's just visibility hidden down here.
Okay, so what's going to be the front thing? Just the button?
Right. So the button itself is the front. You'll click that, and then it will transition, or something like that.
Oh. So then this should just be on the section itself. Big button. There we go. Cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, this looks like what we needed to do.
Yeah, that should be enough to get us started. Let's see. Border. What's the right style? Want outset. 1M. There we go.
Let me go ahead and add some flipping keys. see, data. Well, all right, so funny enough, I don't think we're using any sort of flipping library here or anything like that, so we'll have to do that. Oh yeah, so data flip key won't even matter here because we're doing this in a really homegrown approach, which is totally fine. Don't have to use my library. But
what are some benefits to using your library, David?
I know. It's okay. So yeah, we could do it on each of these event listeners because that's what this flip thing does. And because we're doing it on the, oh no, we don't have any, so document query selector all section content, content add event listener.
What are you doing? Oh, you're looking at the flip setup.
Yeah, so const L section equals, we're just going to put this in a variable so we could get rid of this. And then we could, what did I call that function? Flip. So flip, and the something we're going to do is we're going to set the data set active to true, and that's what's going to trigger the layouts change. And we're going to do it to
don't we need to add this in here as well?
Yeah. Good call. So nothing broke, which, it's good.
Yeah.
Now what I want to do is I want to, I'm going to put those data variables the same way that you did in the last episode. We're just going to display before, or display in the before.
So yeah.
Content, attribute style, which is a great way to debug.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you see it already, but we already have some neat little variables.
Yeah, I'm going to fix that grid. There we go.
Cool. It's totally retro. Just some border radius tricks.
Just straight up border. For now.
Or not border radius. Yeah.
Yeah, the border style. Nice and classic. So yeah, we can do.
All right, so now, well, talking about the animation for a minute, like Shaw previously mentioned, we have a data flipping, I believe. Yeah, data flipping that's applied to the element when it's, when what happens? Oh yeah, when it's basically at its next position. So when it's in the final position in data flipping, that's where we have to invert it and also turn off all the transitions. And then when data flipping goes away, we smoothly translate everything from the inverted position to 0, which it's a mouthful. Honestly, the best way to get used to this is to just do a few of these, which we have done. So
yeah,
I'll go ahead and add those. We have data flipping on each of the sections, and so I'll just put that down here. Data flipping, and we're going to, like you probably see, we have dx, dy, dw, and dh. All 4 of those are going to be very useful to us because we need to transform on all of those. And that's going to be part 1, is just doing things your normal flip way, like we talked about last episode, where not only are we flipping on the X and Y axis, but we're also flipping on the scale. So both the X and Y scale. And then after that, we have to do some rotations. So, all right. So for the flipping parts, by default, we have transition. I'm going to be lazy just to explain and not get in the whole CSS variable mess, all 0.3 seconds. And then when you're flipping, that's when your transition should be none.
Yep.
And so this is also where you invert. And so inverting it would be, just going to copy paste what we have. Don't tell anyone, but I will explain it.
Yeah, if you want a full deep dive into every little bit of it, then go back and check out our other episode. There's a couple links down below to some recent flipping episodes where we're doing this same kind of technique with get rect and the flip function.
Mm-hmm. So surprisingly, that sort of works.
Hey, yeah, kind of.
Well, what we forgot to do is transform origin top left.
That'll do it.
And there we go.
Nice. That's super.
It was that simple.
Yeah.
And remember, we're using no libraries. Right here, we just copy pasted a few lines where we wrote it by hand in some previous episodes. It's not very long. It's maybe 20 lines of code.
Right, and it's all pretty understandable once you get the flip concept. We're just pulling those values out to CSS variables to be used here. So yeah, that's a really great transition all on its own. There's a lot more we can do with ease and out and playing around with all those kinds of values. And then we can relatively easily add the flip on the opposite side. So when you're closing out, so that's great.
Way ahead of you.
Nice, yeah.
Sort of. It looks a little funny, but that's what styling is for.
Right. So we're not actually changing the state very exactly at the moment. Yeah, you instantly see the button, but everything scales in and out correctly. That's super cool.
A little bit of overlapping, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fixable with CSS.
Yeah. So there is a problem. So like whenever you're clicking 2, it removes itself from the grid. So we might actually need to do like a wrapper inside each section or around each section.
I'm on it.
Yeah, in the chat, Ahmad is saying no libraries. That's the thing most people don't get. Libraries mostly add more overhead than they benefit. Yeah, it is true for a lot of cases. But
Perfect.
Especially when you're starting out, using a library is a great way to just like get familiar with something and play around with things. But they often abstract away like what's actually happening under the hood. So you can iterate and prototype quickly with libraries, but you also don't necessarily learn in quite the same way that you would without. Yeah.
So, you are right though that it adds a lot of craft, and it was actually something that I was talking about with Steve Ruiz, who actually gave us the challenge. We had a call yesterday just talking about some state machine stuff, and basically with libraries and frameworks, it's like an all or nothing sort of thing. It's a whole bunch of things that you don't need, but it's either you get none of it or you get all of it. And there's really no in between. And that's one of the problems that we have with programming today. And it's not something that's easily solved because, imagine how many dependencies your website needs right now. Unless you're doing things in just HTML and CSS, then more power to you. Yeah, a lot of the things we work with have a ton of dependencies.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, just take a look at your package.json sometime, and you might be a little surprised. All right. So I think we can start with what did you do there?
Nothing.
All right. So transform style, preserve 3D. Oh, that's me actually. So we can do this, move this up here to our entire let's do that here. Let's see. Yeah, that fixes it. Okay. Padding. Wait, why didn't the padding work? Okay. Yeah, so I gotta move that up. So we're gonna start on the 3D transform aspect of it, because that's one of the cool. Whoa.
Don't worry, I'm just testing that because I was scared for a minute. There is this whole thing about 3D transforms not working with position fixed because of all sorts of reasons, but it seems to work fine here, so nothing to worry about. I was just freaking out.
Yes. Transform style, inherit. All right, so that should work. Jeez. Sure. All right, so everything should be getting transform style, preserve 3D in there.
Did you remove the... It's no longer stretching.
Yeah. So what do we do? Transform style, preserve 3D, perspective is on the parent. You added it on the section, but I've removed that. Fixed. Yeah, I feel like the issue is that position fixed is once you set like the transform parent or whatever, like position fixed no longer is actually fixed. So I think by setting the transform style across the whole app, it does that. So it's fine. It's not a problem. We can actually do the transform just on the section here, and there we go. All right. So unfortunately, what that means is we don't get like a full 3D scene across like the entire app. It's just localized to the element itself, but we should still be able to get the same kind of effect, and that should be fine. Let's see. Okay.
It's a really pretty cool effect.
Yeah. So we can do. Let's do rotate. 2 turn. And let's just see what happens.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What? Rotate Y 2 turn. Oh my gosh. And you are applying that directly on the section. Oh sheesh. What about the content?
Yeah, I mean we do want to flip the whole thing, and we can actually set up the content to be on the back side of it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, let's try it. Let's give it a try.
So I think what we want is rotate X to be able to see some actual 3D-ness. No.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because we have transform style, preserve 3D. Let me move this down so we can just see. So maybe that's not what we want. We want just the perspective there. Let's slow this down so we can.
Yeah. The problem with this right now is that the transform origin is still on the top left, and we do sort of need that. Do you know how to change that?
Yep.
I feel like you do.
Yep. So essentially transform origin is just kind of translating before applying the actual transform functions. So if we do
this is crazy.
We can actually set up our own oh boy, set up our own transforms. So let's say transform here is going to be 0, 0.
Well, that killed it.
Yeah, I forgot a semicolon. But that kills more than that, so that's funny. Backface visibility visible. Did that kill it? Nope.
Nope.
All right. I'm gonna sneeze really quick. Nope, it's gone. Okay, great. Ignore that. All right. Did we break the transform here? Let's remove that. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so the actual scaling is working correctly. Rotate. So basically what we're trying to do is make sure that that rotation is happening from the center. But that does not seem to transition. Let's isolate it to that and see. Okay, no.
And now we're back to it going all crazy.
Yeah, so let's try applying that before the scale.
It's still a bit crazy.
It is. Let's do one axis for now. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. It's doing something.
Sort of does what we want.
Alright, let's go back to transform style. Sort of 3D. Let's, because that perspective is really not doing anything. It feels like perspective from style.
So I think what we need to do is just right when we're flipping, we need to move the front view to the back. So like that button, it needs to be flipped behind, if that makes sense. Because remember, we're starting off, like this data flipping represents our inverted position. And so inverted, we want to see the back side, which would be that button. How do we do that? I have no idea, so let's find out. But then I'm just going to say transform, translate, y, like 0.5 turn. I don't know. Something like that. Hopefully that do the trick. Nope.
Okay, so let me take off the visibility hidden on content for the moment. That's fun.
That's fun.
Okay, and let's do data active. So we've got visibility visible there, visibility hidden. And we want, wow, that is massive.
Gets tricky back here.
Yeah, this is where the 3D CSS is a little difficult. Getting things set up. Once we get over this hurdle, it should all be.
I think you have to remember that we're not rotating by one turn. We're essentially doing a half turn rotation.
No, because no. So a half turn is like this, David. A full turn. So if this is the front, if we do a full turn, that's this. For 3D or for like a rotation like this.
Well, so you have to pretend that the content is on the back side of this button. That would be a half turn.
Let's see.
I promise you, it's what it is.
Okay, yeah, so why is the button disappearing? Or why is the element itself disappearing? Because it seems fine on the way back. Because I'm pretty sure we need this on the content itself.
I'm trying something, don't mind me, with the button, so you could, yeah, don't worry about it.
Where are you?
Okay. Basically, I'm wondering, can we do an animation on an animation? So basically, what if we kill this? Okay, I might have an idea.
Yeah.
Only translate X and translate Y the section. But as far as the elements inside, sort of coordinate them together so that they flip.
Right.
Or do their spinny thing.
Right.
So let's try that. I think that could. Here, this is what I mean. Go ahead and just click now. Actually, this could be exactly what we need. All right, let's try this. I'm actually excited. Oh, hey, it almost works. We just need to, right now, the button and the content are facing the same way, but we need to somehow have the content like on the back side. You know any good ways of doing that?
Translate Z.
That could do it.
Oh, geez. Okay, so when it's... Okay. Yep. Okay, so basically we want to split these two out. So content is here.
I think that was a missing piece. We were trying to rotate the entire thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think I saw it working.
It's close, yeah.
It's very close. We just need to play around with the 3D transforms. Wow, so crazy though.
And we probably don't want backface visibility, actually.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, I think.
So let's see, data active.
Well, when I click one of them, it's like I can't get out because I keep seeing the button.
Right.
It's like, nope, I'm just going to keep spinning here.
Button.
I love how glitchy this is. This is modern art.
Okay, so we want -1 pixel. There we go. Kind of.
Oh, no, it's gone.
Yeah, so we need to move
I think I'm having a wait, is it the wrapper's not translating. It's the All right. I'm going to do an experiment again on section number 1. So if you're going to test, try doing 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Don't mind me.
Not minding at all.
Narrator, he was minding the entire time.
It's true. It's true.
Yep.
Flipping. Content. Transparency.
Flow. And then let's do
production ready. That's right. I'm in. Thanks. Hey, I got it. Pretty much.
You got it?
Yeah. Try number 2 there. It's
sort
not
of.
it's not there yet for the return trip, but close enough.
Right. Yeah, let me just do my little experiments on one. Basically, I'm adding another wrapper for Cybertruck reasons. I say Cybertruck because I'm trying to remember what I did for the Cybertruck. And when having to do sort of a 3D wall, basically you have one parent element and you have something that's translated Z above that parent element and translated Z below that parent element. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Just as a test. And so we could say hide 100% with 100%, which would stretch it, which is good. So the button, we're gonna transform, translate. Darn, TTZ doesn't work anymore. Transform, translate Z 1 pixel. And the contents, we're gonna transform, translate Z -1 pixels. And we're also gonna give both of those back face visibility visible, unless it's that by default. I keep forgetting. Is it?
What?
Not sure.
What is what?
Back face visibility, it's visible by default?
It's not visible by default? I don't know.
All right, so now data flipping. When that happens, we're going to do the same button and contents animations over. Oh, no. So we're actually going to just animate blob. I named it blob because I have no idea what to name it. So normally I would go with Swedish IKEA names, but for now, no. Transition.
Okay.
Transition none, and then we say transform, rotate X 1 turn, rotate Y 1 turn. See what happens. Nothing happens. Oh wait, no, things happen. It doesn't look very good, but things happen. All right, what if I did a do you have to add transform style preserve 3D to the things you're actually 3D transforming as well?
Yes.
Okay.
But I have already added transform style to everything. Transform style inherit. So.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. All right, I think my experiment might work, except I can't get out of it, so.
Oh boy.
It's flipping too much. If you click on number 1, you'll see.
Yeah.
It is flipping way too much.
Oh little bit.
Trying this again.
All right.
Oh, because I don't start off in the. All right, better do it that way. Reload. All right, it's still flipping to the wrong place. It's flipping to that one block, and I need it to flip to the other side. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but it is close. So basically, I have that wrapper to the translate C top and below.
So I basically have it here. It just needs a little tweaking. Yeah, gotta adjust that and that.
Oh, I'm so silly.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think I have it, sort of.
Let's see.
Well, at least in one direction.
Well, the content is now backwards.
Yes, it's an artistic choice. All right.
Let's just do one direction for now.
Oh gosh. I mean, if someone saw a backwards one, they'd still know it's a one, right?
Perhaps. Let's see, why is that? Let's see.
Okay. So let's see. Rotate Y. 5. Basically, we're going to flip it so that it's actually the right way. And there we go. Almost. It's just coming back. That's a little weird.
Yeah, that's same with mine right now.
And I think it's because right now we have just data active telling us, oh, so if we do not data active, not data active and data flipping, then we should do something else. You gotta solve the mystery. Data flipping. We should
yeah, yours is pretty close.
5.5 turn. I believe I really like that turn unit. It's really, really useful.
It definitely is.
Okay, so now I have something happening where now it flips the right way when it's going back, and that's because I have that data flip, not that active data flipping.
Let's see. Okay, so what what did you do? You've added an extra element here.
Yeah, it's called blah.
Of course it is. All right. So what have you done? Transform style, preserve 3D, perspective, transition all. Right. So you're basically doing all of those as you don't even need that wrapper. This could just be applied directly to this section.
Are you sure?
Well, because you're doing that. Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to make this rotation effect a lot less dramatic. It's pretty dramatic right now.
It is a little bit. Rotate Y. I mean, that's pretty close to what's happening with Mario here.
Did you change something?
I did, yeah.
Oh, see, that's why it's going to white. Oh, because
I did rotate C
C
instead of rotate Y. Yeah.
Yeah. Put it back. All right, so it's doing what we want it to do, at least in that one. Except the rotations are a bit crazy.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's break yours down a little bit. Let's rotate Y. Half turn. Rotate X. 1 turn.
Yeah, I want to find a way to get it to be a lot less dramatic.
Oh, jeez, your perspective.
Yeah, I thought that something with the perspective could really help there, but
yeah,
doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, part of the issue is kind of the container it's in. I think the way that it.
Oh yeah, because look, I got rid of the perspective on the actual container, and now things look a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah, you don't want to go all the way up to 100,000. Something like 1,300 is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Probably even less than that. Yeah, I don't know how those perspectives stack. Okay, we can go with that if you insist.
Oh, I mean, whatever way works.
I think that's as close as we can get right now. Mine's pretty close. It's just the stacking isn't quite right now. So let me move all of. Sorry, yeah. Let's comment out a bunch of stuff right now. Let's see. Okay, why don't you add that wrapper to them all?
Sure.
Did you just make the button completely white?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, well, yeah. As in I didn't do any styling. No special treatment to it.
Okay. Well, it should have some treatment to it. That's weird.
All right, so we're gonna just do it here as well. 2 right here. It's gonna be 3, and right here, it's just gonna be 4.
Okay, seems like it's okay still. So let me clean up some code. Did you leave it named blah?
Yep. You don't like the name?
You know, whatever. Button and content with height.
I wish you could make it stay z-index like on top of everything while it's still animating.
Well, you sure can.
All right.
Sure can, David. Transition. See it. Index.
Ah, the change at 50, right? That whole thing?
Yeah, essentially. That should mostly do it. Nope. Let's see. Do 2 seconds. And then transition delay. 0 seconds. Something like that.
No.
Nope.
All right. Data flipping. Oh, that's
delay. Did you change the animation?
Yeah, just a little bit. I was looking back at the demo, and it's a lot more subtle of an animation than we're doing right now, but of course I probably messed something up. So if it's active, oh yeah.
I mean, do you need this at all? Like, can't you just override the data active, not data flipping, rotate?
Okay, so that's a little bit more subtle.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this not that active. It's like this is the small states, and then the data active. This is the big state. So in the big state, we do want it rotated half a turn because we want to see the other side.
Right.
So yeah. And then for some reason, it's not wanting to do what we want. Like on the way back, it's just doing a boring animation.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Is it?
Actually, no, it's not okay.
Transition none for data flipping. It's fine. Not data active. Gonna group some styles here. Flipping.
Ahmed in the chat says, looks cool. Thanks. Production ready, totally. Ship this straight to prod.
Yep. Let's see.
So let's see if we could.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with the Z index setup. I'm not sure why that's not working. It's expected. Did you change our gray color? Is that what you know?
I did not.
I don't understand. Oh, okay, okay. It's the targeting of it. There we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gone again.
Yep.
So I guess instead of that that teal, we want just a nice bright white or dark cyan. I have it.
Yeah, great.
Did that work? Well, it works for number 4.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
So nothing. Just now it's okay. Let's see, we have data flipping, not data active, data flipping, data active. So we have data active, not data flipping. This is data active. When it's flipping, this is data flipping regardless. So, but I'm trying to figure out how to do the going back animation.
What about it?
How it just right now it rotates on the y-axis, and we want it to do sort of a XY sort of thing. Because okay, when it's going back, it's data flipping but not data active, which is this one. And so we're rotating it by 0.5 turn, rotating X by 0 turn. And oh, okay, so that makes sense. We're going from 0.50 to 0, 0, which is it's boring. So let's give it 1 turn on the x-axis.
There you go.
Yeah, that was easy. I spent like 10 minutes figuring out one number.
That's the way it goes.
Such is programming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Try something. It's always the most fearful words.
Yeah.
Let's see, do we have okay, so are we inheriting all the transition? Yes, we are. So we have transform, we have z index. I also want
Yeah, I don't know
opacity.
that Z index is actually working, but what are you opaciting?
Opaciting the contents, but it's not doing what we want it to do at all.
Well,
we have opacity 0, and when it's active, the contents should be opacity 1, which I mean it is opacity 1. Let's go to 0.5. Maybe it's just going there too fast.
You're being too specific.
Am I?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the specificity of it is too high. So if you move opacity up here, where we have some real good specificity, then it should work. Opacity 5? What?
I want it to be really, really opaque. Like, no light could go through it.
Sure. I think it may have more to do with our transforms than anything else. So let's see, inner date.
Turn, 0.5 turn.
Let's see. Let's just take out that opacity for now. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah, we don't need to do the opacity necessarily.
There is one thing though. Whenever you click it, we're not inverting the scale.
Right.
So
which we should do. We do have those DW and DH variables to help us there, perhaps.
Yeah, that's not. That's probably outside the scope here. This is where background elements would be useful.
Yeah,
that's fine. The solution to that is always speed it up.
Speed up so no one realizes. Yep.
Yeah,
here we go. What's the duration now? Oh my gosh.
It's a great magician trick. Sleight of hand. Just make it go faster. Nobody will notice.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty flippy. That's for sure.
It is very flippy. Let's take that out. Before we wrap up, do you have any ideas on the z-index deal? I think it just doesn't transition. Animation, Z. 1 second.
Isn't it the change at 5 sort of thing?
Isn't it what?
Like where it changes at sorry, not at 5, at 50%. Like 0 to 1 and 50%. One of those things.
Something like that.
Well, there is something we could do.
Here, I'm trying something. Animation.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah.
Nope. Doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, I might have an idea. Wait, so the Z index, have you been able to confirm that, if you transition it or animate it, it does a flip at 50?
I have done it before. I think so. Let's see. If we look up Z index here, we can see if it's a discrete animation type.
Yep, that'd be really good to find out.
Specification.
Because if so,
animation type. It says animation type in integer, so it should fully transition.
Well, I don't expect it to go from like 1 to 0.5, just smoothly to 0.
Yeah.
But so what I did was.
Oh. Hold on.
Okay, holding on. Don't touch anything as David continues to.
Yep, that's it. That's all. Okay.
Wait,
So
did
we
you
were transitioning from z-index 5 to z-index auto, and that's not a transitionable value. So by adding a z-index 1 to the section, it will then give us what we need. Yep. Okay. That's it.
Cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I'm going to go ahead and add overflow hidden so that we don't get any scroll bars there.
So data active is being applied to the wrapper, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, we're almost there. Wrapper section. Doing a bit of cleanup before we summarize. Oh yeah, where's those borders? Let's take those borders off. Whoa. What are you doing?
Sorry. Having some fun. So basically, there was a... yeah, don't worry about it. I undid it.
Okay.
Except now the z-indexing is not working. But it's not my fault.
Oh, David. What did you do? Yeah, what's that? X10 animation. And data active. So what is data active being applied to? Wrapper or section?
Should be. Yeah.
No, it's applied to section.
Oh, that's why. That's why my silly little idea did not work.
There. Don't want opacity anymore.
Yep.
Oh, come on. What did we change? Broke it. So close.
We were.
X1 to add active z-index 10. Flipping z-index 10. There we go. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of things happening with this. What do you think we should focus on? I don't think we necessarily need 3 things, but we can just break down.
The 3D flip for sure. Talking about all of that. The z-index thing is actually pretty interesting. I don't know how you solve that, but or that's probably the flip at 50%.
Yeah.
Immutable thing. And just generally how we're using flipping here.
Okay, so let's do 1 z-index 2 flipping, and then let's see. Let's just look at the flip setup real quick. Data active. Yeah, that's basically separate from the 3D portion. So yeah, I'm gonna split that out actually a little bit in the code here. Do that here, and then data flipping. The inner. Okay, just confirming that still works. Great. All right, and then yeah, we can summarize those 3 things. So we'll look at the z-index transition first, and then the flip, and then the 3D flip. Okay, cool. All right, getting back to the script here. And let me give myself a quick.
By the way, I just changed one thing.
Oh no.
Oh no. It actually looks closer to the
famous last words. Okay. You changed the actual flip or the rotation directions.
Yeah, so now it's using Z instead of X.
Okay. Cool.
That way it's a lot less flippy.
Sure. All right. Stop touching things.
Oh, okay, fine.
And here we go. All right. So for those of you watching live, we're about to do some animation summaries. Essentially, we'll record all these live. We'll just break down all the techniques we've used. So stay with us. You'll enjoy that. But we're recording like intros and outros to edit down. So it may sound a little funny if you're watching live, but you'll enjoy it. All right. You ready, David?
I am.
All right. Hola, amigos, and welcome to Keyframers. I'm Stephen Shaw.
And I'm David Khourshid.
Right now, we'll be giving a quick overview of some techniques we use to build this awesome animation. Our show is supported by our sponsors, CodePen at codepin.io, CSS Tricks at css-tricks.com, and viewers like you. You can pledge at patreon.com/keyframers. We've got some links available below for you.
Yeah, and here you can watch the full process of creating this animation from scratch with a deeper dive into each technique, so please check out the live stream. And if you have any questions, leave a comment or ask us in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer.
That's right. Let's take a look at z-index transitions. So z-index is kind of where an element sits in the stacking context. So for instance, our little sections here are at z-index 1 whenever they're not active. And then whenever we apply our data active attribute, they are at z-index 10. So we click it and apply that z-index 10 so that it's over all of these elements, especially while it's transitioning, but mostly so that we don't have any overlap. For instance, if we take that off and do the same thing, yeah, you can see the elements later in the DOM are overlapping. Z-index is auto by default, or dependent on where it is in the DOM, essentially. So the later an element is in the DOM, the higher that auto z-index value is. Or if they share the same z-index, so z-index 1, the elements later in the tree kind of override that. Is that a fair summary?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. So we want it to be z-index 10, so we've applied that here when it's active. But if we don't transition that, you'll notice that it gets a little funny when we're going back out, because we're going instantly from 10 to 1, even though the element is transitioning and moving. So just by adding in our z-index to the transition, it's going to transition at the same time, going from 10 all the way down to 1, so that the animation should be pretty smooth. It should be overlapping that entire time. Now, the important thing to remember that we ran into with this is you can't just have like the z-index that you want on like this active state and then no z-index here, because if you're transitioning, you have to transition from two numbers, not from auto to 10. The same reason you can't just do like a height transition from height auto to height 100% or height 200 pixels, whatever. So you have to set a z-index that you're going to and from in order for that transition to trigger properly. So that's z-index. Try transitioning that next time you've got some kind of modal animation or overlay. That's a very helpful way to handle that. If you want to see more, you can watch the full live episode where we break down all of these techniques. So go back and check out the full live stream for that. All right. You want to give us a quick summary of the flipping?
Yeah, sure. All right, so in this animation, we made use of flipping again. Please look at our previous videos, which we'll have links to, for basically how we made this flip function in the JavaScript. Essentially, it's the same technique as always. We are taking some element, grabbing that first rectangle, doing something that causes a layout change, grabbing the last rectangle, and this is get bounding clients rect from the element. We are then inverting it, which means we are finding the distance from where it is to where it was, and we are setting those as CSS properties so we could properly flip it, which means we're going to make it so that in one frame it pretends to be in the first position, but we translate it to the first position, and then on the next frame we animate everything to 0 using CSS transitions. And so we could use CSS variables to do that. Now, obviously, this does not account for the actual crazy flipping that's going on in this animation. And that's because we are applying the flip to the wrapper, and the wrapper is just doing a very simple that flip animation that you've seen us do in previous episodes. And then on top of that, we're doing a 3D animation, and that's using the another wrapper.
Yeah. So if we take out, if we take out this, it's probably not going to work anymore. But basically all that 3D stuff is down here, but the overall transition just happens with this data flipping attribute being applied. So in the instance of flip, we're doing first is just the normal state here where it's in the regular layout. Why isn't this updating? There we go. Okay. So this is the normal state, the first state whenever it's starting out. And then when we do something, we're applying that data active attribute so that it goes to position fixed and fills the full screen. And so in that instant, it is actually at that full size. If we take off this transition, you'll be able to see that. See, it instantly goes back and forth. But by adding this transition and then targeting data flipping, that's added by this by our function here, we can then transform to do that inversion that David's talking about.
Yeah.
But the important
sorry, go ahead.
The important part is we want transition none during that state so that this transform is applied instantly in that frame.
That's what creates the illusion. Yeah. Right. Another thing I want to show is that in our flip animation, we do something, and that something is what causes the layout change. But if I comment that out in the JavaScript, you'll see if you click any one of those that we're not flipping anymore. And well, we are flipping as in we're doing the 3D flipping, but that just goes to show you that these are two separate animations or layered animations, so to speak. So we have the 3D flipping going on. And if we apply that do something, now we have both the layouts transition and the 3D flipping going on at the same time. So that creates the illusion of everything happening at the same time. And there you go.
Yeah. We've done a lot of videos on the flip technique, so check out the links down below. We've even got a playlist for it now, I think. But you can also check out the full live video where we flesh out these techniques and break everything down in a nice manner. So go back and check those out for sure. Okay, now the 3D flip. All right, so trying to think of the right way to.
I could explain that.
Okay.
If you want me to.
Sure. Let's go for it.
All right, so now let's talk about the 3D flip part of this flipping animation. And I'm not talking about the layout change, I'm talking about the actual like rotation on the z-axis and the y-axis and all this other crazy stuff that provides that illusion that we were aiming for. So there's 4 things we have to consider here. We have to consider the normal quote unquote resting state of each of these buttons. And so in that case, we have a button that's facing you, and unbeknownst to you, we also have a content that is flipped and underneath that button. And so that is located, where is that? We have that, oh, right over here. We have rotate y 0.5 turn. So what that's going to do is we have it translate z -1 pixel, just so that we make sure that it's a little bit separate from that top level button, and also that it's flipped on the y-axis. We could also flip it on the x-axis. Doesn't really matter. Basically, we want to get it behind and rotate it around. Otherwise, it's going to be backwards. We don't want that. This is what the content is going to be for the entire animation, so we're not animating content at all. Now, when we have data flipping, this is when it's, I guess you could say data active and data flipping at the same time, so we could be a little bit more explicit over here. So basically, when it's going from not active to active, we want no rotation to happen. And then when it finally is no longer flipping, we want to rotate y by half a turn and rotate z by 1 turn. And that's what gives it that 3D animation over there. Now, when we're going backwards, we also have to take that into account too. So when we're going backwards, and that's
yeah, so this is the final.
Yeah, that's a final one. And then we have the not that active. Yeah. So with this one, we still want to have it initially at rotate y 0.5 turn, because we still want it flipped the other way. And we want rotate z 1 turn, because that's what's going to give it that cool 3D flip effect. And then we go back to, back to normal, which is rotation none. So that's why there's really 4 states to consider here. There's the not active and not flipping. There's the active and flipping. There's the not active and flipping. And there's the active and not flipping. So, yeah.
Yeah. The important bit is for this kind of reveal technique to just get the content set up in the proper way, so that you're not having to worry about that, and then using that inner wrapper to actually do all the rotation and everything like that. And that translate Z really helps. If you don't have that, you get like that weird like splicing kind of effect that you sometimes see in video games when things overlap.
Yeah.
So it's important.
You could imagine it like a sheet of paper, and for the nav, which is that button, we're translating Z-ing it 1 pixel above, and for the content, we're translate Z-ing it. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, we're moving it 1 pixel below. So you have a guarantee that they're not going to touch.
Yeah. Yeah, and for 3D transforms, it's important to use that transform style preserve 3D and a perspective on kind of the container, so that those 3D transforms actually come through. So make sure you add those, and you should be good to go. So 3D transforms in CSS. It even works with flipping, so you can combine all these techniques and get some really fun retro effects, or modern effects, whatever. So anyway, if you want to dive in more, we have the full live video where we go into all these techniques, and we have other flip videos available, and plenty more on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/keyframers. So check all that out, like and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching. That's all we have for you right now. So thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Adios.